Welcome back to the second part of this video on horse riding equipment for our horse. I'm going to be talking today about your saddle pad, your stirrups, your girth. So I left the link down below of the first video. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out there. So let's get started on our first topic, which is talking about our saddle pad. The purpose of your saddle pad is to wick away the sweat and the dirt and put a protective barrier between your saddle and your horse's back. There's a few things that I think about when it comes to choosing a saddle pad. The first one is the shape of that pad. So here we've got a very straight Western pad, and here I've got a built-up dressage pad. So I prefer to buy a pad that is a little bit built up or has some wither relief, whether it's Western or English. And this is because I found that pads that are straight tend to put more pressure down on the wither over time when you're riding and can create some discomfort during your ride. So a saddle pad that's built up gives the wither nice room there and helps to prevent any pressure from occurring. So here I have a shimmable pad, and when we have shimmable pads, we have shims that we can pads where we have shims we can set on top, or we have ones where we can insert the shims inside like this. I always prefer one where you can insert the shims in. I find it gives me more stability and keeps those shims in place. Now, if you are using a shimmable pad, you always want to consult with a professional saddle fitter and make sure that you're shimming correctly and not creating any pressure points when using pads like these. So the next thing we're going to talk about is our saddle. There's a few things that I think about when I'm choosing a saddle. First off, let's talk about the purpose of our saddle. Your saddle is distributing the weight of the rider over a larger surface area and protecting the spine and the ligaments that run along the spine. A good fitting saddle can also give the rider more endurance over long distances and support the curvatures in our spine. So when it comes to picking out a saddle, there's a few things that I think about. The first one is, am I riding in a saddle with a tree or without a tree? I'll show you a picture of a couple trees up here. The tree is kind of the skeleton of the saddle, and it's what allows us to be able to distribute the weight of the rider over a larger surface area. Saddles that don't have a tree in them are going to concentrate the pressure in a smaller area. So it's similar to riding bareback. Now, there are people that prefer riding in a treeless saddle because they feel it fits whatever horse that you're going to ride, but it is important to consider that it is putting that pressure in a smaller area. So I always think about how long you're riding your horse or how much work you're doing if you are riding in a treeless saddle. The next thing to consider when it comes to saddles that have a tree is you can ride in adjustable saddles, such as this dressage saddle here, or non-adjustable, such as this Western saddle. There are adjustable saddles in both Western and English, and I always prefer to purchase an adjustable saddle. And there's a couple reasons for that. First off, I find that an adjustable saddle is going to save me money in the long run. And that's because your horse is going to fluctuate in weight and in muscle as they go through life. So even if you have a horse that's older and matured, they can change in their saddle fit. So having an adjustable saddle allows you to have one saddle for the life of that horse and really will save you some money in the long run. The other reason that I love adjustable saddles is they help to prevent any pain from arising in the horse. If we have a saddle that doesn't fit our horse well, it can create some pain, and that can lead to behavioral problems later on down the road. Another important element of your saddle is your stirrups. So the purpose of a stirrup is to offer the rider more stability and give them more endurance in their riding. When we look at stirrups, there's a ton out there on the market. Usually you're going to get a pair that's discipline specific. So if you're riding Western, you're going to get a pair of Western stirrups. Here's a pair of traditional Western stirrups. Or if you're riding English, you're going to get a pair of English stirrups. Here's some traditional irons. These are breakaway irons. And I always recommend having a pair of breakaway. They come in Western and in English. And these are really nice if you're trail riding, riding a young horse, or just looking to be safer. They're gonna break away and release your foot if you fall off your horse, and this prevents you from getting dragged. The final piece of equipment we have is our girth. This secures our saddle onto our horse, and without it, we could fall off more easily. So when we look at our girths, we've got girths that are straight like this, and we have girths that have a curve in them. I prefer girths that have a curve like this because they give the horse a little bit more freedom of movement and distribute the pressure over a wider surface area on the breastbone, whereas a straight girth like this can create some pressure points on the side. So you can get curved girths like this in both Western and in English styles. There's a lot more we could talk about when it comes to horse equipment. There's so much out there, but in this video, I wanted to just cover some of the basics. Hopefully this gave you some insight into some of my thoughts and maybe some useful tools for you choosing your own equipment. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next video.